Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to another Office Hours for the FastStore beta. And it's been a while, right? Since our last one, but well, we're still here. We're gonna be here for a while every week, so stay tuned. My name is Victor, and I'm a software engineer here at VTEX. I'm currently working on the FastStore team, and I'll also be your host for today's event. So, without further ado, let's just get started. Awesome. So our first section today is for announcements, and in this section, we'll be bringing you the latest news from the team to keep up to date with what we've been working on, some cool events coming up, or events that have already passed, like the hackathon, or just come here and ask you for some feedback. Okay, so today we have quite a few announcements, and the first one is regarding Next.js. I'm sorry. Actually, the first one is about the Lighthouse reports that are now available for deploy previews, and I'm going to show you like exactly what it is. So now for every deploy preview you have, you can see detailed Lighthouse reports for every one of them. Like for example, here I just took like one random open PR in the Gatsby.store repo. And here we have, well, a bunch of information. And you have the usual preview as you would normally have, and the Lighthouse reports. Then if you click on any of these, like for example, for the home, I can see like the full breakdown of like the actual full Lighthouse report for that page. Actually, this one is for the Apple Magic Mouse product page, which is right here. So the second one, I just flipped the order. This one is from the Office page, which comes from here. So you can just like you now have access to these reports very easily here alongside your pull requests. Um, so that's it. That's that's it for the first announcement. Um, okay, so for the next one, this is actually the one the one I was thinking about, and this is a highly requested one. I hope you're all very happy about that because we are. And Jimenez is gonna talk to you about that. Hey,
Hi, Miranda. All right. It's with great pleasure that you are here to announce that we finally have our Next.js starter. So, what changed? So, before we had only one starter called Base Star. And actually, what we did, we renamed this starter called Base Star. And now it's on Gatsby.store. And now we started a new starter called Next.js Store. Some questions you may have. So, what's the difference between those starters? Well, basically only the framework. So the only difference is the framework. All of the features, all of the components, they should be the same. So from today on, I think you guys can starting checking the Next.js starter.
awesome! That's great. That's great. And just to reinforce to everyone, if you go looking for the base.store repo, you won't find it, right? Or it's gonna be outdated. Now it's important to look for the Gatsby.store repo, right? That's where everything is up to date, and the next one as well, right? We're gonna be keeping both of them up to date, right?
Yeah, both of them up to date and with the same features. So it's just really a matter of like choosing the framework.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome. Thanks, Jimenez. Hope everyone is excited for this.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. Okay, so I know that's a big one. Now we have another one that's also great, and we've also been looking forward to this, which is our new starter library. And I think George is here to tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, Miranda, thanks for calling me. I think I'll be joining you a few more times today. But one of the ways for you to really not get lost in situations like this one where we renamed one of our starters is always look for our documentation, our starter library, right? So if you go to faststore.dev-starters, you'll be able to take a look at our starter library. That already includes Gatsby and Next.js. But now we're going to have a new section. We're revamping our starters library to include a new section called Community Starters. And that has a lot to do with our hackathon we had a couple of weeks ago, right? That way we'll be able to share the great stuff that you all have been working on publicly. So if you have a great starter, you'll be able to share with the broader community, as any good open source project should. So if you have something awesome you'd like to share with the world, go ahead, visit our starter library, submit your starter, and let's keep working together.
Yes, that's awesome.
Now, for another update with me, we have some documentation updates. And if you don't remember, the first, our homepage in faststore.dev has this small section called documentation updates, where you can also get more news about relevant documentation that has been updated. And recently, not so recently, but we were off for a couple of weeks, we added a documentation for troubleshooting problems in FastStore. So now you have docs that can help you discover if you're facing a bug, or if you actually introduced the errors yourself and you need to look over your code. So definitely check it out. The URL is there on the slides, but definitely you can navigate through our documentation and get to it as well. I see in the chat we have a comment about getting 404 in Gatsby. I think I made a typo probably, but I'll check it out and I'll get back to you on the chat real quick. All right, Wesley. Next update, we also have this convenience that developers love, dark mode, right? Everyone likes being on the dark side. So now you have that option in our documentation portal as well. I mean, it's not very functional, but it's definitely a lot of fun. It helps your eyes. So I don't use dark mode all that much, but I know that's something that a lot of people requested. So we have that. Do you use dark mode in your day-to-day work?
Yes, I actually enjoy it quite a bit. Like I not all the time, but I do. Especially for coding, like you can't code in
Yeah.
IT.
Yeah, that's true. I only use it on my VS Code, but like for browsing and stuff, I still like being blinded by all the white lights. But yeah, anyway, dark mode, all it takes is just toggling it up in the bottom, in the top right corner. So check it out. Tell us if you like it on the comments. We'll keep adding those fun new features as well. It's not only about work, right? It's about having fun in the process. So yeah, we have dark mode now. And I think that's it for me, at least for announcements.
Awesome, great. So everyone, please go check out the new dark mode. It looks awesome. Go check out everything that we have as regarding documentation updates. And
I forgot my
we
last announcement. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one more. And yeah, you told everyone we have a lot of announcements, right? So one thing that we are also doing right now is running a satisfaction survey on faststore.dev. So it's that pink banner you saw earlier. And if you have anything to say about our documentation in general, how you're liking it, if it's supporting you, we know that documentation is always a pain, especially in a beta software, right? So we want to improve. Please take a minute this week, answer this survey about the documentation broadly, anything you'd like to see more of. Be happy to help and be happy to improve. So please give us that data point. And of course, about the documentation today, not the one you read 3 months ago and you stopped reading documentation because you don't care about documentation. Please give us about the current situation. That's really helpful. All right, now that was my last announcement. Thanks, Miran.
Okay, awesome. Great. Thanks, George. Hope to see you in a bit. So that's what we had today for you in terms of announcements. I told you it was going to be a lot. But we have lots of exciting news, huh? That's pretty good. And if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're working on, and even like get to know these things before we announce them here, you just make sure to check out faststore.dev/announce/releases. And because there you can find all of our release notes and everything that's changing with the platform and so on. Okay, so there it is. And that's the announcement section. All right, so let's go to the next section. This is the Ask the Community section. Well, this section is all about you, our developer community. This is where we bring some of your questions from VTEX Community here to the office hours so that we can give more in-depth answers, maybe show a few things, and more people get to see them. Especially like today, you notice that we have something a bit weird going on with the questions. They will all be in Portuguese. um, Now, don't worry if you don't speak Portuguese or if you don't understand Portuguese. We'll do our best to translate them, and the answers that we will give, like the event will still be in English, right? So we'll just translate things. But please, everyone, try to make an effort to send more questions in English. Like we only brought questions in Portuguese because we didn't have enough questions in English. So please make that effort to send more questions in English so that in the next few office hours we can bring them more easily and everyone gets to and fully understand the questions and everything. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get started. So the first question is about like a study repo from Brandon. He's asking if we have some sort of like playground or yeah, some sort of playground repository so that you can test like FastStores, make simple tests without actually having an account or anything like that. And George is here to give us a few more details about that. And
All right,
I sneak peek
Miranda.
into what's to come, right? Hey.
Long time no see, right?
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a while. Well, right now we don't really have a sandbox environment that anyone can use to test out FastStore. But of course, you can download the repos and run everything locally as usual. So both with Gatsby and Next.js, you should be able to run things locally. Now, what I think Brendan is asking about is also about a mock server with like data from the APIs, for instance, or that kind of stuff. We don't really have that, but yeah, in general, you can point your localhost server to any VTEX account. You don't even have to own it, to be honest. So usually our starters point to Store Framework, which is one of our test accounts, and it works well. Yeah, so the best way for you to test things nowadays is just to clone or download the base store, the starters we have, and play around locally. If you have access to web ops nowadays, a lot of you have either done some training with us or are working on a store currently, then you can test things out with web ops, pushing things to your repo and testing things out. But then you'll always be getting the data from the account you're pointing your FastStore to. So that's the main point, right? You need to have access to some VTEX account with data so you can actually play around. But a final thing is really soon, probably in July, I don't want that to be a hard commitment, but probably in July, we'll have a self-service course for FastStore. That's when we're going to start kind of scaling up the efforts of training more people in FastStore and giving them more access to learning about it. And we'll have a self-service course and also automated kind of inclusions in a test account that we're setting up just for that. That way, anyone, even if you're not, in an agency or in a client that's with a project running, can actually start using not only FastStore locally, but inside a kind of a sandbox environment, and also be able to learn in a structured way, not only reading the docs and coming to office hours, which is always great, but going through a structured path. Let's see if I can bring it to everyone and announce it here, right?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be great. Like based on what we had for Store Framework, I think naturally the FastStore one is gonna be awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to that.
So I'm gonna share a link in the chat with a form that you can sign up for this future self-service course, and feel free to share that with anyone who might be interested. That's a way for us to kind of let you know first when this comes out. But yeah, that was it for that question. Thanks, Mira.
Nice, awesome. Thank you, George. Thanks for answering. So that's it, everyone. I hope you're as excited as I am to see how the course pans out. I think it's going to be awesome. All right, so moving on to the next one. This is about adding a new query at the FastStore API. And this one comes from David. And who is actually going to answer this is Daniel. He's been here before, right? Hey.
Hello, everyone. No, actually, it's my first time here in office
Oh
hours.
yeah.
So my name is Daniel. I am an engineer at VTEX, and I work on the self-service squad, working on the FastStore. At these questions, Davi asks how to add a query at the FastStore API, and my answer. Can you see my screen? No, right? And
Yes.
my
Now we can.
Now you can. Okay. And my answer to Davi is to use go to the FastStore dev and read the extending the schema documentation. Here you can see how it's easy to extend your GraphQL schema. So you can add a custom field, and at this custom field you can add everything you want. It's a ground where you can put whatever code you want. So you can make calls to another API, customize some data you have, and make it go to so this custom field goes to the GraphQL layer, and you can use in your components as if it's part of your platform as well. So I think this is the way to go when you want to add a call to another API or any custom field you want. Just extending the schema is the best to get because every component will still use the API calls the same way. So I think that's it for this question.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. Just a detail that I would also point
Sure.
out to people that the Davi made up. I think it could be a common mistake to like try to define new types in the generated GraphQL folder, right? Because we have a command that's like yarn generated that generates the types for all of the GraphQL queries that we do, right? I think what he tried in the beginning was just adding a new type there, and then and a new query field and trying to see if that works. But it's important to point out to everyone that like everything that is inside that generated folder is just generated like from the current GraphQL server that you have running. So like it's auto generated files, right? So you shouldn't be messing with those. Like just regenerate them. Don't don't change them. And if you want to like add a new query or a new field, right? Just do what you showed, right? Just extend the schema, and we actually have documentation on that, so that's great. Awesome. So thanks a lot, Daniel. I'm pretty sure the next one is also
Yeah.
yours. Stop
Also
mini
with
cart
me.
scroll.
Yeah. Yeah. This question is from Gui Canella, and he is asking about a behavior we had when that you are on the bottom of the screen, you add the product to the cart, and the cart opens and the screens go up. But as you can see here, are you seeing my screen now? Good. As you can see here on our Gatsby.vtex app, if you go to the bottom of the screen and add to the cart, the product will be added, the cart will be open, but the screen is not on the top. That's because we already have it fixed here on this pull request. It's on our base store. It's not on the Gatsby store because it was fixed before. But we fixed this behavior here, and we fixed it. The problem happened because we added when the cart was open, we added this class named no scroll to the layout with the position fixed. So it moves the layout to the top. What we needed to do is to remove this, add some extra things that is all discussed on this pull request, and the problem was fixed. Another thing I want to add about this question is that we are always fixing stuff. So if you notice some problem on your store, go to our repository, check for pull request, make a search. The GitHub search is very good. so you can see if we already fixed it. If we did, it's possible to, as I've answered here, it's possible to just make a cherry pick on the commits that fixed it on our repository, so you can bring it to your store, fixing all conflicts that will possibly happen, and you have the correction, the fix on your store as well. So I think that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. And just a small comment on the cherry picking stuff. That's really magical. Like when I learned to do that, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Some
Yeah,
Git knowledge.
it's very good, and you can cherry pick any repository you want. You just need to add to fetch it before, like I'm fetching here, git fetch base store, and then you can cherry pick the commits from the base store, even if you are on the repository of another store. And that's a pretty good thing.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks a
So I
lot.
think that's it for me. Thanks. Bye bye.
Awesome.
See you
Thanks.
other weeks.
See ya. Okay, awesome. Now we still have a few more questions. The next one is, how do I change the section for, actually not the section, sorry, the session, the store session, to PTBR or any other, right? Just change the locale, because our default is to use like EN US, and like the currency code is USD because it's US dollars. The symbol is the one that you will see for US dollars, and so on. So this is a very good question from Lucas, and like I think a lot of you will come across something like that, and it's like it's not that complex, because you have everything that you need to do so in your stars code, right? So just real quick, showing here that Sara already left an answer for this, and she just said that, well, we don't have support for you to change the current session dynamically. Like we don't have a native way of doing that. You could implement that, but we don't give you that. But what you could do is, like, for example, if you want the like your currency for the store to be BRL, which is, well, the Brazilian real. For example, you would just need to overwrite what we set as the base initial state for the session. And this is done here. You notice that this is the FastStore repo, right? So here in the FastStore repo, in the SDK package, so the @FastStore/SDK package, we export this component right here, which is the provider. And this is the session provider, right? And here we give it initial state. And this is where we say, like, oh, this is the default currency, this is the country, this is the locale, postal code, channel, and user, and everything, right? You pretty much, what you need is to overwrite this. All right, so how can you overwrite this without having to, well, you don't need to like get the FastStore repo, then clone it and make a change. You don't need any of that. In your store, just real quick, this is the Gatsby store, which is like came from the base store, right? It's exactly the same, but this is where the base store lives now. There are two places where you can change this to actually like take it to effect in your store, right? As I said, the session, like this session provider, this is just a React context, right? That's gonna wrap everything in every single page of your store, and this will give like this will hold like what's the current session, okay? As I said, this comes from FastStore SDK, which is exactly this. So you just import it here, and here you can do what Lucas is trying to do, right? Here you have the initial state, and this is an object, and you could just pass it like here we're passing a channel, a sales channel. You can just pass like currency, and what are the fields? Currency, country, locale. So this is where you would do it. Like this is it's like in your store, you have two places. I said right. You have the Gatsby SSR because this is what's gonna wrap your page when your page is actually this is the Gatsby browser, right? Yeah, this is the Gatsby browser. So this is what will run in the like when your pages are rendered client side. And if you change something here, you're just changing like what components will wrap every single page of your store in the client side, right? Then you have to do the same thing at Gatsby SSR because then you will change it for pages that are actually server side rendered, right? But the idea is exactly the same. Like you will do exactly the same thing. You just pass one more value here for this initial state, and if you pass anything here, you're pretty much just overriding what we set at the FastStore package, at the FastStore SDK package. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Like how you would go about changing the session. Not only what Lucas was trying to do, which is like, oh, I would just want to change the locale. You can change like everything. You can override the whole session, and you have all of that control like in your store. Okay, um, so that's it for this question. I'm pretty sure I have another one. Yes, I do, and this is regarding a certain delay that we have when showing product shelves. You've probably noticed that it also happens in the base store, but like when you first open the page and then you scroll a little bit, there is a little bit of a delay so that the product shelves actually like show up because there's a GraphQL query happening right there, right? So like when you're rendering the page, the HTML comes static, and then we have to like add the data from the product into the page, right? So that we can actually show products. And pretty much what Larissa was asking about here is exactly that. Like she noticed that that happens on both the base store and the store that she is developing. And she was asking if like, okay, is there any way to like circumvent this or anything like that, or what might actually be causing this? And then Brasileiro told her that like, well, this happens because every time that we have to like open the page and it's the first time that this specific query is being fired, the query to get like the products that are shown in this specific shelf on this specific page, it's gonna take a while because um, when well our GraphQL queries are being executed as Gatsby functions, right? And the startup time on these Gatsby functions in our infrastructure is taking a while. So that's why, and that's also why like it's only on the first time. The first time you do it, it's gonna take a while because it kind of has to like fire up and start, and then it can like answer. You will get the return for the request. But then if you try to like see the same thing again, it's gonna be faster. But this is like the cold start there. We don't really have a way to kind of circumvent that. So for now, unfortunately, it's gonna happen. What I would recommend you to do is what Larissa suggested here is that well um, while it's loading, like while the page is loading, like keep this in mind, right? Like you already know that the query will take some time, at least some time in certain cases. So just like make your UI more resilient to that, right? And this is just an awesome like good practice for every time you're developing some kind of UI that requests for dynamic data. Always make sure that you handle the loading state, right? Like you're every time you're thinking about your UI, you think that, oh, okay, this might take a while. Like I might not have the shelf to actually show. So it's better to show like a spinner or a skeleton or anything like that. Like just to show that, okay, something will pop up here. Um, okay. So for now, unfortunately, that's all we can recommend really. There's no way to circumvent that for now. But well, we're we're always working to like make things more efficient, especially on the web ops side and well, also on the FastStore side. So I hope to this delay becomes ever so slightly smaller. So let's try. But that's it. That's it for now. Awesome. So, and those were the questions that we had lined up for you today. So first, just thanks so much to George, Daniel, and to George and Daniel for coming here to answer them all in detail. And thank you for sending your questions on VTEX Community. Please keep them coming. And don't forget to add the office hours tag to your questions in VTEX Community when you're creating them. Okay, so that makes it much easier for us to actually find your questions and then bring them here. And it's also like a kind of a flag for us to know that, oh, this person wants this question to be featured on the office hours. Okay, so please do that, and please send more questions in English as well. And that's all. Okay, awesome. Now on to the next and final section for today, which is the demo time. Well, unfortunately, we don't have any demos for you today. But please consider this as an invitation for you to bring your own demos. We would love to have you here. In the Brazilian office hours, we had a few demos already, and they were great. We get super excited for that, and we are super happy that the community is participating. So please submit your demos. We would love to have you here. I mean, this whole office hours thing and the VTEX community is made for you, for the community. So please, like, if you had a nice go live, if you implemented something that you've never seen before, and using the FastStore, and you think it's worth to share, come here to share it. Show your results. And we would love to have you here, basically. Okay, so if you want to do that, you just need to fill in the form to present your demo at community.vtex.com/office-hours-beta. Just go there, write about what your demo is, send us the request, and we would love to have you here. Okay? Oh, I think that's it. That's it, everyone. Please remember to like the video, subscribe. I hope you all had a great time. I know I did. So that's it. See you next week. Bye.